Rain hammered the Bentley's hood as the millionaire stepped out, shoulders shaking, eyes red, grief carved into every line of his face. Across the street, a tiny silhouette froze. A black homeless girl, barefoot, shivering, holding a plastic bag of stale bread. She stared at the framed photo he was clutching. 2 missing teenage girls. His daughters. The security guard barked, "Step back! Don't go near him!" But she didn't move. Instead, she whispered, voice trembling but certain, "Sir, those girls, they live on my street." The guard grabbed her arm. She didn't fight. She just lifted her finger and pointed toward an abandoned row of houses at the end of the block. The millionaire followed her gaze, and his entire world stopped. Keep watching, because what this girl reveals next will shake you to your core. Her name was Mila Carter, 14, black, homeless for 8 long months. Most people didn't look at her long enough to learn her name. They only saw the ripped hoodie, the dirt on her shoes, the plastic bag she carried like luggage. But Mila wasn't just another kid on the street. She watched everything. She remembered everything. And she survived by noticing what others ignored. Across from her stood Daniel Hale, a tech millionaire whose life, just 3 nights earlier, had collapsed in an instant. His 2 daughters, Ava, 13, and Lily, 15, vanished after school. No note, no trace. Only grainy footage of them walking toward a bus stop, and then disappearing behind a construction site. Police said they were searching. Daniel knew they were stalling. He had money. He had lawyers. He had influence. But none of it brought his girls back. On this storm-heavy night, Daniel came to the block, where Mila slept because a private investigator traced a strange lead here, a sighting of 2 girls matching the description. But when he arrived, he found nothing. Just boarded houses, flickering streetlights, and a terrified homeless girl staring at him, like she knew something she wasn't supposed to say. The antagonist arrived next. Officer Raymond Crowder, a man who treated homeless kids like trash, who saw poverty as misbehavior, not misfortune. He shoved Mila aside, muttering, "These street rats will say anything for attention." But Mila wasn't lying. She wasn't guessing. She wasn't hoping. She had seen the missing girls. She had heard their voices through thin walls, seen strange men coming and going, watched a black van arrive every night at 2 a.m. And the only reason she hadn't spoken sooner was because one of those men had threatened her life. Yet now, standing in front of a broken father, she felt something she hadn't felt in months, a strength rising inside her, a voice whispering, "Tell him. Tell him everything." The wind cut through the street like a warning as Mila swallowed hard and stepped closer to Daniel. Officer Crowder's shadow loomed behind her, but she didn't look back. She looked only at the father whose eyes were begging for truth. I know them, sir," she whispered. "My street? They're on my street." Crowder scoffed. "Kid, stop lying. You want attention." But Mila didn't back down. She lifted her chin, her voice trembling but firm. "I heard them call each other Ava and Lily." Daniel froze. The world froze with him. His breath sharpened. His hands shook. "Where?" he whispered. "Where did you see them?" Mila pointed toward the row of abandoned houses at the end of the block, houses everyone ignored because men like Crowder told them to ignore it. A place the city forgot. A place where secrets went to rot. The officer stepped forward, gripping her arm. "That building has squatters, not—" "Let her talk," Daniel roared, ripping her out of Crowder's grasp. For the first time that night, Mila felt safe. She took a breath. 2 weeks ago, someone moved the girls into that blue house, 3rd floor. You can't see it from the street because they boarded the windows from inside. That got Crowder's attention. He stiffened. A flicker of panic crossed his face, but Mila kept going. They come at night. A black van. Men with masks. They bring food, then leave again. The girls cry sometimes. I hear them through the vents when the heat turns on. Daniel's face collapsed into shock and horror. Crowder stepped between them. "That's enough. You're making up stories. These are dangerous accusations, young lady." But Mila didn't blink. She glared up at him, quiet fury in her eyes. You told me last week if I ever talked, you'd make me disappear too. Daniel's breath stopped. The street fell silent. Crowder stepped back. His jaw tightened, and a single drop of sweat rolled down his temple. Daniel turned toward the house. I'm calling backup. No, Mila grabbed his sleeve. They won't help. They never do, She nodded toward Crowder. He always warns them before help arrives. Daniel stared at the officer, and suddenly every puzzle piece made sense. Crowder's silence, the lack of progress, the lost files, the ignored tips. This entire time, the enemy wasn't incompetence. It was corruption. Daniel pulled out his phone, but Mila stopped him again. Sir, if you call, they'll move the girls before anyone arrives. Her voice cracked. I know because they did it before. 2 other kids. They were gone the next morning. Daniel felt his heart turn to stone. Mila stepped forward, lowering her voice. I recorded things. Daniel blinked. What? She reached into her hoodie and pulled out an old, cracked phone, cable exposed, screen chipped, battery taped down. I've been saving proof. Everything I heard. Everything I saw. She opened the audio app. A file list appeared. Dozens of recordings. Dozens of dates. Dozens of voices. She hit play on one. A girl sobbing. A man yelling. A door slamming. Daniel staggered back. He covered his mouth. His breath broke. He choked. That's my Ava. Crowder lunged for the phone. Mila stepped back fast, too fast for him to catch. Daniel blocked him. You knew, Daniel whispered, his voice dangerous. You knew my daughters were here. Crowder cleared his throat. She's manipulating you. These kids steal audio from the internet. But Daniel wasn't listening. He was already walking toward the blue house. Mila followed. Sir, if we go in the front, they'll hear us. There's a fire escape in the back. It's rusted, but I climbed it twice. You went inside? Daniel whispered. I wanted to help them, but they keep the girls locked on the 3rd floor. I couldn't break the door. Daniel stared at this small, homeless girl, braver than the entire police force. Braver than him. A car engine rumbled behind them. Another black van was coming? Mila's eyes widened. That's them. Daniel's heartbeat thundered. This was the last moment before everything exploded. The point of no return. He looked down at the trembling girl beside him. Stay behind me. No, Mila whispered. I'm not running this time. The van slowed. Its headlights crawled over them. And Daniel finally understood. This broken kid wasn't just a witness. She was the key, the only one who could unlock the truth, and the only one willing to risk her life to save his girls. Marcus didn't blink. Not when the security lights flickered. Not when the cold wind whistled through the alley. Not even when the 3 luxury SUVs pulled up behind him, engines rumbling like a warning. But the girl beside him, Ava, froze. Her thin shoulders trembled. Her bare feet curled against the concrete. The door of the lead SUV slammed. Out stepped Victoria Hale, Marcus's late wife's sister, draped in diamonds, draped in power, draped in the kind of confidence only money could rehearse. And behind her came 2 men in tailored suits. Ava whispered, Those are the women I told you about, sir. Marcus's jaw flexed, because now he understood. Now he saw exactly who the girls on Ava's street were scared of. Victoria didn't even look at Marcus at first. Her cold eyes locked straight onto Ava, like she was nothing. A problem, a stain, a disposable thing. Then she turned slowly to Marcus with a sharp, practiced smile. Well, isn't this interesting? Marcus stepped forward. His voice was quiet. Too quiet. Why are you here, Victoria? She laughed. Soft, fake, expensive. Because you're trespassing on my project. And you're holding one of my runaways. Ava flinched at that word. Runaway. Marcus caught it. He caught everything. He pointed to Ava gently. This child isn't yours. She isn't property. Victoria raised a brow. Marcus, darling, you don't know what you've stepped into. These girls live in the units we provide. We give them food, safety, a future. Ava's voice cracked. That's a lie. The men in suits stepped forward instantly. Marcus lifted a hand, stopping them. Let her speak. Ava swallowed. Hard. They take girls like me, kids with no parents, kids who sleep outside. They promise a safe home. Marcus's face went white. Ava continued, voice trembling. But then they make us work, clean their apartments, serve their guests, run errands at night. And if we say no, her breath hitched. They put us back on the street. Victoria rolled her eyes. Oh, please. These alleys are full of delusional little storytellers. Marcus stared at her like she was a ghost, like he was meeting a monster he'd never seen in daylight. Girls on your street? He whispered to himself. And suddenly he realized Ava wasn't just telling a story. She was exposing a system, a machine, a trap built on desperation, a trap his own family's money might have unknowingly funded. Marcus's heartbeat thundered. You're exploiting homeless children, he said. Victoria stepped close, her voice dropping to a serpentine hiss. You think you're the only Hale with power? With lawyers? With reach? If you walk away now, I'll forget this little misunderstanding. She leaned in. But if you keep digging, I will bury you. Ava gripped Marcus's sleeve, terrified. For a moment, a long, heavy, dangerous moment, Marcus said nothing. Then, he reached into his jacket. Victoria smirked. What, calling security? The police? He pulled out his phone, turned it around, and pressed play. Ava's entire testimony. Everything she had whispered to him hours earlier, played on loudspeaker. Her voice echoed through the alley. Her fear, her truth, her courage. Victoria's fake smile melted. What is this? My insurance, Marcus said quietly. The men in suits stepped forward aggressively. But Marcus didn't move. Take one more step, he said. And this recording goes to every news station in the city. The men froze. Victoria's face turned ashen. You're making a mistake, Marcus. No, he said, voice like stone. I'm correcting one. Ava's breathing turned sharp, panicked, because behind Victoria's SUVs, another set of headlights appeared. 2 black vans, unmarked. Their engines idled low, threatening, trained. Victoria's eyes flicked toward them, and for the first time, Marcus understood. These weren't just social workers, not volunteers, not employees. These were collectors, enforcers, the kind who made children disappear. Ava clutched Marcus's arm. They're here for us, she whispered, and Marcus stepped in front of her. Just as the van doors cracked open, figures climbed out slowly. No badges, no names, just quiet, dangerous obedience. Victoria's voice sharpened like glass. You had your chance, Marcus. Now step aside. Marcus didn't move. He didn't breathe. He didn't blink, because now, right now, he knew there was no turning back. He whispered behind him, Ava, stay close. And then he lifted his phone again, this time dialing a number she didn't recognize. Victoria narrowed her eyes. Who are you calling? Marcus looked up. Not angry, not afraid, just ready. My team, he said. The call rang once. Then someone answered. Marcus spoke one sentence. Execute emergency protocol. And bring everyone. Victoria's face collapsed. Ava's breath caught, and the entire alley fell silent. The rescue had begun, but the real war was about to start. The alley fell silent. The wind stopped. Even the city seemed to hold its breath as Marcus lowered his phone and listened to the distant hum of engines growing louder. Ava clung to his coat, terrified, but trying so hard not to show it. Then, a fleet of matte black SUVs turned the corner. No sirens, no lights, just quiet authority. These weren't goons. These weren't hired shadows. These were Marcus Hale's people, the ones he trusted with his life long before he had millions or grief. The doors opened. Out stepped his personal attorney, his security chief, 2 social justice advocates he'd been funding anonymously for years, a state representative who owed Marcus a favor, and a woman in a crisp navy suit, the director of Child Protective Services. Victoria's confidence cracked like ice under a tire. What is this? She whispered. Marcus stepped forward. This, he said, is accountability. The CPS director walked directly to Ava and knelt, eye level, gentle as sunlight. Sweetheart, she said softly. You're safe now. No one will touch you again. Ava's lips trembled. No, no, you don't understand. There's more girls, lots. They keep them in the old building behind the liquor store. Locked rooms. No windows, please. The director squeezed her hands. We're going there next. Ava broke. Not with fear, with relief. The kind that hurts because you've never felt it before. Marcus turned to Victoria. You used my family's charity network to hide human exploitation. Victoria's face twisted. That's not, Marcus, they agreed to stay with us. They would have starved. No, he said, voice low. You starved them of choices, of dignity, of childhood. The two men in suits tried to step backward toward the vans, but Marcus's security chief blocked them. You're not going anywhere, he growled. The CPS director signaled her team. Take them into custody. The alley exploded with movement. Victoria screamed at the officers. She screamed at Marcus. She screamed at the world. You ruined me, she cried as they cuffed her hands. You betrayed your own blood. Marcus stepped toward her, slow, steady, grieving. No, he whispered. You betrayed everything my wife believed in. She froze, because that was the one name she couldn't weaponize. The one person whose memory she had no right to wear like jewelry. Marcus continued, voice breaking. She spent her life fighting. For kids like Ava, if she could see what you were doing. With her legacy. He shook his head. She'd cry. Victoria looked away, but the fight was gone. The CPS director approached Marcus. You're recording. The girl's testimony. The evidence Ava provided. This is enough to open an emergency investigation tonight. Marcus nodded. Take everything. Use it. I'll fund whatever you need. Then he turned to Ava. Her eyes were glassy. Her cheeks streaked with dried fear and new hope. You're safe, he told her gently. Tonight you sleep in a real bed. Ava swallowed hard. But what about them? She whispered. The other girls? What if someone moves them? Marcus glanced at the CPS director. Her voice was firm. We're mobilizing now. We'll get every single one of them out before sunrise. Ava exhaled. It wasn't a breath. It was a release. A lifetime of holding herself small, quiet, invisible, finally melting into the night air. Marcus placed a coat around her shoulders. You don't ever walk alone again, he said. Ava looked up at him. Why did you believe me? Her voice was so soft, so wounded, so ready to be dismissed by the world again. Marcus knelt to her level. Because I lost someone too, he said quietly. And grief teaches you to hear voices the world ignores. Ava blinked, not understanding, not fully yet. Marcus continued. My wife fought for kids like you. She saw strength where others saw nothing. She would have loved you. Ava's chin quivered. Do I look like the girls she helped? No, Marcus whispered. You look stronger. For the first time that night, Ava's lips shaped something close to a smile. Small, unsteady, but alive. The CPS director touched Marcus's arm. Sir, we need you at the station to file a statement. Marcus nodded, then turned to Ava. You ride with me. She hesitated. But I don't want to mess up your car. Marcus smiled for the first time in months. Kid, you saved more lives tonight than most people ever will. You belong exactly where I'm taking you. Ava stepped into the SUV, wrapped in warmth, protected, finally seen. As the vehicles pulled away, the city lights reflected in her eyes, not like threats, but like possibilities. And for the first time in her life, Ava allowed herself to imagine a future. Not survival, not fear, a future. Because one man listened, one girl spoke up, and a hidden truth was dragged into the light. The moral hung heavy in the air. When the world ignores a child's voice, it's not the child who's lost. It's the world.